Imagine being just a regular nerdy student, worried about nothing bigger than handling bullies, and then, boom, you start running into ghosts and aliens. Your whole life flips upside down. Our story starts with Momo losing her cool when her boyfriend asks her to lend him money for a date. Things get even worse when he suggests they hit up a hotel, so she tries to kick him, but he knocks her down and they end up breaking up. Heartbroken, she vents to her friends who can't help but question why she was even into him in the first place. Momo admits it just because he looked like her favorite actor, Kenta Kakura. Explanation her friends find totally ridiculous. Feeling down, Momo's walking through the halls when she spots a guy getting bullied in a classroom. Deciding to step in, she sits at his desk and gives the bullies a sharp glare until they back off. She leaves right after. But the guy catches up with her, excitedly chatting about aliens and UFOs. His non-stop talk only worsens her mood, even though she didn't plan to befriend him. She ends up apologizing when she realizes she hurt his feelings and casually mentions she believes in ghosts more than aliens. The boy smirks in disbelief at the existence of ghosts, which it gets Momo defensive. She explains her grandma's a spirit medium, sparking a fairy debate between them about which is real. UFOs or ghosts. It all ends with them daring each other to prove their beliefs. Late at night, Momo and the guy she now calls Okarun split up to prove their points. Momo heads to Naji Hospital, where Okarun thinks UFOs might show up, while he checks out a tunnel Momo believes could be haunted. They stay on the phone, and during their chat, Momo opens up about her past. She shares how she used to resent her grandmother after being bullied by a crush because her grandma made her perform a ritual in public. But over time, Momo forgave her, realizing she hated how her crush mocked her grandmother more than the bullying itself. She even came to respect her grandma's role as a spirit medium. Meanwhile, Okarun encounters an elderly spirit known as Turbo Granny, who offers to have him suck on her breasts in exchange for performing shameful things. Freaked out, he bolts, refusing to believe what just happened. Momo, hearing his panic screams, warns him that Turbo Granny curses people if she catches them in a race. As Okarun gets chased on his bike, Momo rushes to help, but is suddenly paralyzed with fear when she spots three eerie figures in the hospital hallway. Terrified, she tries to escape, but they capture and restrain her. Momo wakes up to find herself tied to a chair in her underwear, surrounded by strange figures who introduce themselves as the Serpo's aliens, wanting to copy human reproductive abilities. One of them pulls out some weird mechanical device from their lower half, planning to take her womb through a disturbing process. Momo struggles to break free, but they use psychokinesis to mess with her mind, making her feel aroused against her will. Just as things are about to escalate, Momo's phone rings, distracting the Serpos. Suddenly, Turbo Granny bursts in and bites off the device. Momo quickly realizes Turbo Granny is actually Okarun. Serpos try to stop him, but Turbo Granny Okarun moves too fast, ripping off their mechanical devices one by one. When the aliens pin him down with psychokinesis, Okarun pleads with them, offering himself instead. He reveals how meeting aliens has always been his dream because he felt so alone until he met Momo and begs them to leave her alone. But the Serpos ignore him and crank up their control over Momo, making things even worse. As this continues, Momo recalls her grandmother's instructions to perform the ritual in order to release her a key and manages to accomplish the task, resulting in her unlocking psychic abilities that help her break free from her restraints. With the ritual serving as confirmation, Momo acknowledges her grandmother's true abilities as a spirit medium and counters the Serpo with a powerful kick that sends the alien crashing back, causing damage to the UFO. Momo then suppresses Turbo Granny's possession over Okarun after she attacks him. Before vanishing, Turbo Granny warns Momo that she has taken Okarun's genitalia. And the only way to lift the curse is to confront her in the tunnel where she resides. After surviving the UFO's destruction, Momo and Okarun start to believe that both aliens and ghosts are real. Okarun then gets ready to head out and face Turbo Granny, insisting on going alone so he doesn't cause any more trouble for Momo, but she keeps offering to help. Eventually, he agrees and apologizes for being a bit awkward, explaining it's just how he is. When he says something that sounds just like Kintakakura, Momo gets a little shocked, but quickly brushes it off, trying to ignore any weird thoughts. She then realizes she never even asked his name, so she asks him. When he tells her his name is Kintakakura, Momo is left completely speechless. Unwilling to accept that his name is the same as her favorite idol, Ken Takakura, Momo tells him he can't use that name around her. Instead, she decides to call him Okarun, a nickname he reluctantly goes along with. Since it's morning and ghosts don't usually show up during the day, Momo invites Okarun to her place to wait until night to deal with Turbo Granny. When they arrive, Okarun suddenly bursts into flames trying to walk through the torii gate at her house. Panicking, Momo uses her psychic powers to fling him into the nearby river. She quickly realizes it was the talisman on the gate, meant to ward off evil spirits, causing the problem. After removing it, Okarun can finally enter safely. His hair now looks like an old lady's perm from the fire incident, much to Momo's amusement. Once both are inside and changed, Okarun becomes upset to find his missing genitals. Momo reminds him it's his own fault for getting involved back at school. Okarun admits he only approached her because he didn't want to miss the chance to make a friend, and he's scared she'll never want to be friends with him. Momo reassures him that his real problem is isolating himself without meaning to and promises they can talk about paranormal stuff together. Touched by her words, Okarun gets teary-eyed but ruins the moment by responding in a snarky way, leaving Momo annoyed. The two suddenly hear the doorbell ring. Momo doesn't recognize the chime and figures it must be an evil spirit since her house has separate chimes for humans and spirits. Realizing the spirit got him because she removed the talisman from the Torii gate, she and Okarun sneak out the back door to put it back. Momo and Okarun run for their lives, dodging the giant shockwave stumps. Okarun recognizes the creature as the Flatwoods monster because of how it looks, while Momo thinks it might be connected to the Serpos, given its motive for attacking them. Momo tries to fight back but struggles to manage both the monster and keeping Okarun's curse under control with her powers. Okarun suggests a risky plan. If Momo focuses on suppressing Turbo Granny's curse in just his head, he might be able to use the rest of his possessed body to fight. As the Flatwoods monster's next shockwave closes in, Momo goes for it and the plan works. Okarun transforms using Turbo Granny's insane speed to dodge the attack and counter by biting off the monster's fingers. But the intense speed takes a toll on Okarun's human body and he ends up coughing up blood. Just as the Flatwoods monster is about to stomp him, Momo jumps in and pulls him out of harm's way. As they struggle to figure out how to beat the Flatwoods monster, Momo notices it's fighting like a sumo wrestler. She gets an idea: if they can force it to touch the ground, like in sumo, they might win. To pull this off, Momo uses her psychic powers to suppress Okarun's curse with her right hand, letting him smash the monster's right leg. At the same time, she uses her left hand to yank its body down, which causes its right hand to disintegrate. Though they manage to hurt it, the Flatwoods monster quickly regrows extra legs to stay balanced and slams Momo into the wall by the Torii gate. Even as she tries to keep Okarun's curse under control, the alien keeps pummeling her. Okarun begs her to stop worrying about him and protect herself, but Momo refuses to give up, getting increasingly annoyed that the monster is cheating. After the beating finally stops, Momo reveals her real plan. She let the Flatwoods monster attack her so it would create a crack in the wall. The gap is just big enough for her to slip the talisman back into place. Pulling Okarun close, she sets the talisman back where it belongs, instantly incinerating the Flatwoods monster and transporting them back to the real world. Momo feels a huge wave of relief now that the fight is finally over. She notices Okarun's hair has changed again. This time it's wild and messy, which she finds likable. But the battle has completely drained her, and she collapses right in front of Okarun. Without Momo using her powers to keep Turbo Granny's curse in check, Okarun ends up falling under its influence again. In the next video, we'll find out, will Turbo Granny hurt Momo and actually kill her, or Momo somehow survive by a miracle? Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.